Welcome to the Adept to the Brush. Today, carrying on with the Deathguard Saturnine mounted on the snail. So, some of these parts are a little bit fiddly, and it's one of the reasons I assembled it, especially in light of the other one. Found it quite difficult trying to paint some of the parts. The fact that they're rather detailed, and some of the bits are sort of hidden behind recesses and bits of the detail makes it more difficult to paint. So this time I've decided no, I'm not gluing them together until I've got most of them painted. Might do the final bits of detail work with them assembled, but the initial painting of all the base parts, initial washes and highlights are all going to be done with it sub-assembled. Try and make my life a little easier. So I ain't going to about paint all of that in one go, so I'm going to leave that to dry. Move on to another one. Rinse and repeat. And again, this is just the base colour. This will get darkened down with, again, rattling grime. And then we should bring this back up, but not having it clean. That's the whole look of my Deathguard, is they do look quite dirty and dark and dingy. Armour is very much corroding, rusting, decaying, all the kind of things you'd expect to associate with Nurgle. Picking each bit that I want to attack one at a time. So for this, just the internal ball joint. Again, I could have sub-assembled this even further, because the arm, it's one of the, I'll be honest, it's probably my favourite marine miniature of the last 20 years. One, because nostalgia, it harks back to the earliest form of the Terminator. I think the first one of these was sort of certainly between issue 104 or 105 of White Dwarf and about issue 110, 120 for certain. And the thing I find really amazing about this kit is literally every limb is in multiple pieces. You can articulate the forearm, the shoulder, however you like. My only sort of negative about the kit is the lack of hand options. There are a couple in the kit. You can have a hammer, or you can have the power axe, but the other hand is literally just either a closed fist or an open palm. It's not doing anything, and it would have been really nice if there had been some other options there, or if the basic Saturnine could have had another option for an additional hand in the kit. So there aren't enough hands in the standard Saturnine Terminator kit for you to make them all with hands and handguns. It's basically you're going to end up with some with the plasma sort of substitute for a hand. And although it's nice, I'd have liked the option. I've done a fair bit of the metallics. The last bit I've got to do is finish off the shoulder pads. So I'm just using a bit of Castallax bronze, more or less straight from the pot, wet brush. It's just a case of finishing these bits off. The edge of the shoulder guards, I've done most of the inside of them. It's just the top surface now that needs doing. So I'll probably do the front first on one, leave it to dry, go and do the front on the other one, then come back afterwards. And then once this is dry, we're going to put some rattling grime over all the metallics. Although I do think I want to try and do the bit round the helm first. Get that base coated, or get at least the base colouring for what will come afterwards. Just a little bit of mist actually, where the arm was curling up. I just noticed that I hadn't done the back of it. That's that one. Then onto the other one. Same thing. So I've already done the underside. Left that dry. Need a little bit more paint. Yeah, that's better. Just got a little bit more pigment in it now. That's the front on that side. That's dried off enough. That one I've already done. I'll just carry on. This is the last bit of the metallics to do. The last bit to get done. Sketch out the last little bit on that. So where the hood on the marine is, where his head is, there's some plush padding around his head. So I'm just going to dilute some demonette hide down, and this will work quite well as the base colour for around the head. I'm going to have to change down a smaller brush though, so I apologise if this isn't visible on camera. I'm trying to keep it best I can, but this being used more of a recess wash. If I can get it into the recesses, I can always tidy up anything afterwards, so when my lens actually gets in the way. This will just help the Vulpus pink contrast when we put it over the top to take a little better and show up the plushness of this material. You'll see what I mean once it's done. Just highlights the upholstery. So we'll leave that to dry. Whilst that's drying, we can go and get our rattling grime to now cover all of the metallic parts that we've already done with some rattling grime. So I'm going to find some of my pins, I think. A couple of little blobs of blue tack just to hold things in place. I don't really want to get my fingers mucky. If I mount a couple of these on pins, it will make my life easier. So that'll do for one of them. So I'll just get a tiny bit of blue tack. Stick it on the recess of the limb, somewhere that we ain't going to be worried about the tackiness of. We're going to be putting glue in there at a later date anyway. Will eventually stick. And I'm going to use the pin to push the blue tack back somewhat. Just get an old hobby tool, just because I don't really want to have to try and pick blue tack out of paint. So just making sure that this is pulled far enough back that I don't need to worry. That'll do for that one. Again, just pushing it into a old wine cork. And what I'll do is I'll put the rattling grime on these bits. I'll leave the thigh section for the time being, and I'll come back and do the thigh sections once these bits are dry. So again, all I'm doing is coming in with the rattling grime and covering both the lead belcher that we've already put down and also the Castallax bronze that we've got on there already. I'm not worried about the rattling grime being solid over the bronze. What I'm most interested in is picking out the depth and the detail in it. and also trying to run a little bit around the edge where it joins the bone armour. That is where we've got an edge. So things like that scrape is going to get more ink into it. This line at the top is going to get recess into it, as is the one right underneath it. Not too worried about the top. I will colour the back in, just because we will shade that back out afterwards. It doesn't have to be more than that, even if it does look a little scrappy. That's one thing I did miss. I didn't touch the underside, which we do need to do. Just going into the deepest cuts at the top. I'll come round and do the edge in a minute. So I've been all the way around it. I'm just going to pick out the edge now. Just hammer this in very quickly. Have to see what those messages are about. Hopefully my little boy's okay in school.